welcome back, Wolf Den Hobbies. In today's video, we're going to be welcoming spooky season in and saying goodbye to summer. So, I'm super excited for fall. Hope you guys are too. And with today's video, we're going to be painting something that I 3D printed on my Anycubic Mono SE. Wow. Okay, that's a mouthful. Anyway, it's my first successful print, which is super exciting. What else is super exciting is the model is from my favorite comic book series, which is Spider-Man. Huge Spider-Man fan. Dates back all the way to when I was a wee pup. So, here it is. The Green Goblin. What better way to kick off fall and to kick off spooky season than painting the Green Goblin? Goblins go great with October. So do orcs. I know it's Orktober, but it's a goblin, right? Close? Maybe? I don't know. So in this video, we're going to be going through the painting process on how I painted this guy up. So let's go ahead, dive in, and I'll see you at the hobby desk. Alright, let's start painting. So as always, we're going to start off with our primer. For this time, I'm trying something a little bit different to mix it up. We're going to start with a light gray primer, and we're going to spray all over the miniature. So, just kind of going crazy here. We're just going to spray all over the place. No really rhyme or reason. Just make sure we covered everything. I've never painted a 3D miniature before, so this should be interesting. Alright, so once that's done, let that dry. We're going to come in with some dark gray primer. And instead of shooting over top for zenithal, we're going to shoot underneath up. Now, why we're doing that? I don't know, just to kind of mix it up and do something different. Try to have a little bit of fun with it. So, the primer's all done, it's all dry, and this is kind of how it looks. I think it's pretty cool this way. It kind of makes things slightly darker, and only certain areas are going to be light. So, the first color we're going to do is green for his skin. And the reason why we're, well, not really skin, it's for his costume. But the reason why we went with this is my original magenta was bad. So I was like, man, I don't have any magenta. So I ended up having to go to the store and get magenta. So to film this, I started off with the colors that I had first. So we're going to do his arms, his legs, his face in this green. We're going to take a lighter green now, once that's dried. And we're only going to go over the areas that I think the light would shine on the most. So it would be like right on the top of his leg, on the side of his one arm, a little bit on his other leg, and some on his face. Now I'm working really thin with this paint, so it's kind of just like a sheet of glass going over it. And we're going to take it one step further. Yeah, see? Just so you have one side darker, and it looks pretty cool that way. Alright. So I got this palette paper just to mess around with. Boy, does that absorb paint and moisture really quick. Not the best thing for acrylic paints and inks. So I'm trying to mix some blue ink with this silver to create kind of a wash. Well, not really a wash, but it's going to be wash-like to go over his hover jet. But I want the silver to be kind of blue-toned. So you'll see it later in the video when it's done, that it gives it a nice blue sheen. So, next, we're going to try taking a stab at painting this pumpkin. We're going to use this orange, we're going to lay it down on the palette, and then we're going to paint the pumpkin. This is really the only orange thing on here, but it's cool because it breaks up the colors a little bit. So you're going to have your magentas, your green, your, blue tinted silver, and then you're going to have this orange pumpkin, his pumpkin bomb. The Games Workshop paint handles are really cool. Like, I like them. I have one myself. But I found old medicine containers are really good too.
It's just I use museum wax to secure the model to the lid, and sometimes it can get in the way. So that's why I took it off. There you go. There's the pumpkin. All right. Now, I also did the eyes too, off video. But anyway, so this is a new color that I picked up at my local game store. It's the AK Acrylics range, Laser Magenta. Now, I haven't used any of these paints before, so this is the first time I'm using them. And honestly, putting it down on the wet palette and using it, they came out really nice. I'm really impressed. These are phenomenal paints. So eventually I'm going to have to pick up more of their color range. I really like them. I mean, I picked up that one and like an aquatic turquoise color, which I'll use in a later video. And it's just, I was really shocked about how great the color came out. Alright, so there's his top layer garments finished. We're going to come in with some lighter magenta or pink. And we're going to just kind of do the same thing we did with the arms and legs and his face. Just try to bring out a little bit more brightness as if a light source was shining on him. Nothing too crazy. I'm not a light scientist, you know. I'm not out here knowing how light works to 100%. So we're just kind of making it up, putting things down where I think it should go, where I think it'll look cool. And there you have it. So I think it looks pretty cool. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to come in with some Rhinox hide, and we're going to paint his pouches. He has a few pouches on here, one of which is on his one side, which is like a fancy little satchel. And then he has on the opposite side what can only be assumed to be, I would say, a dice pouch, because the guy that I'm painting in this universe is an avid wargamer and always takes his dice with him to roll initiative and stuff. Just joking. It's probably, who knows what he has in there. Little satchel. Alright, so we're going to come in. We're going to paint this cloud down here. His engine dust. Smoke, debris, cloud. Whatever you want to call it. And no, I'm not painting it blue this time. If you guys seen my earlier video of my Falcon repaint and the discussion I had with Mrs. Wolf, we're actually going to go gray and build it up from there. Alright, cool. Cool. Oh, here I come back with this palette paper. Seriously, this palette paper is a pain in the butt. I don't know why I used it. Well, I had a regular palette, and my oldest daughter accidentally stepped on it and broke it. But we're going to come in with this lighter gray. It is wolf gray, to be exact. And we're going to dry brush over this smoke. And we're not going to do a light dry brushing. I mean, we're going hard. Super hard. We're just going crazy with this. Just dry brushing all over this. Doesn't matter where it goes. Just go nuts. Alright, so now we're going to come in with dead white. We're going to go even lighter. And then we're going to, this is where we're going to do more of a lighter dry brush. And we're going to do a heavier dry brush towards the tips of it. Now I can manufacture smoke, but, you know, I don't really know the ins and outs of smoke coloring to be precise. So I'm doing, in my mind's eye, what I think would look cool. So, to me, that looks awesome. Now we're going to come in with some Vallejo gloss. And for some reason, I decided that I wanted to brush this on instead of running it through my airbrush. Usually, I spray my gloss through my airbrush, or I have a rattle can gloss. But for this video, I just wanted to kind of demonstrate brushing it on. So we're going to mix this up. I put a little bit of flow improver in it to thin it down a little bit. We're just going to brush it on. Now, when you brush on your gloss or your matte varnish or whatever varnish you're using, you got to take into consideration it pooling and how it dries. Because if you have too much in one area, it's going to be cloudy. It's going to be like white-ish cloudiness, and it's really going to screw things up. So you got to lay it down, constantly move around, clean it up, and just keep your head in the game when you're doing it this way. You also have to pay more attention when you're using your airbrush too, just for the simple fact that you're spraying it on and you don't want to overspray. So, you know what they say. After a good day's work, you always got to wash. No, I don't think anybody says that. But that's besides the point. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in with a purple wash, and we're going to add in some quick shade mixing medium, and then we're going to wash all the magenta stuff. Now, it's really not going to do too much, because it's not like this thing has, intense detail in it. I mean, it has pretty good detail in it for my first just have at it 3D print, but it doesn't have crazy amounts. But what this will do is it'll marry the colors in more. So where the darker colors meet the lighter colors, it should kind of create, bridge that gap between them. And I'm just going all over the purple, trying to stay out of the green. So that's what it looks like. It looks pretty good. So next we're going to come in with green ink and quick shade mixing medium. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put some dabs in there. We're going to put some quick shade mixing medium in there. We're going to stir it on up. And then you guessed it, we're going to apply this mix all over the green parts. And this really isn't going to shade too much. I mean, it's going to do his arm muscles pretty well. There's really not that much detail in his legs, but his arms and his face and the top of his chest area is really where this is going to benefit. Other than that, it's just to marry the colors. It's always good to marry your colors. You don't want to have like a super dark paint and then a super light paint, and it'll just look kind of silly. So always try to find that medium to build up to it, or marry them in a way to where it doesn't look like, you got one super dark shadow and then it's the complete polar opposite. Nice. Okay, cool. So those two are done. The next one, we're going to come in with some strong tone. We're going to do the same thing. We're just going to mix it up in our little pot here, Get a good mixture going. And then this is going to be used for his hovercraft and the pumpkin. I'm going to just kind of... Oh, the other thing with washing is it's kind of the same thing with putting on your varnish. You want to put it on to where it gets everywhere you need it to be, but you don't want it to pool because then it'll stain. Using the mixing medium, it kind of helps reduce the staining, but you still have to be proactive with it. Now, I'm not washing the full hoverboard. I'm washing where his feet meet the hoverboard and where any creases are. Other than that, I'm not washing it. Just kind of where, the metal parts meet. And the cloud, I guess. Be good to wash the cloud, bring those shadows back in. Alright, cool. Now, speaking of Green Goblin, wouldn't this be awesome to be able to see this in the new upcoming Spider-Man movie later this year?
Okay, so that concludes this week's painting video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. It really helps when you paint something that you like, and being a big comic book Spider-Man fan, painting Green Goblin was pretty awesome. And having the capabilities of printing the Green Goblin to be able to paint is also a good thing. So I would highly recommend getting a 3D printer if you have the resources to do so. They're phenomenal, especially when the prints fail, because sometimes the prints fail and it's really cool, so you can do all sorts of things with it. If there's any characters or anything that you guys would like to see painted, let me know and I'll see if I can find the file for it and be able to print it. So anything from like anime, comic books, whatever, Bruce Willis. I mean, that'd be cool to paint Bruce Willis. Huh. That'd be good for the best movie of all time. Die Hard, right? Right? Die Hard? Yeah. Anyway. But, you know, it just opens the world up. Instead of painting, you know, the same squad of guys trying to complete an army, you can take a break and paint something else that's outside of Warhammer related. So it's cool. But anyway, also, if you'd like more content and you like to see the other side of the hobby stuff, because I also do video games, you can follow me over on TikTok, where I have video game content. I have the painting and modeling content, and just, you know, all around family fun hobby stuff. And then also, if you'd like to join the Wolf Den Hobbies community, you can follow me over on Facebook and help me reach my goal of creating the best, well, the best hobby related group out there. So, all right, well, that'll conclude everything for now. So until next time, I'll see you at the hobby desk.